Hello and welcome to Tuesday evening's Yoga with Phil. As always, your practice is at your own risk, so pay attention to how you're feeling, being prepared to take lighter options, miss things out if they're not what your body needs today. Anything that doesn't feel right, just easing back. We're going to start the class today standing, so if you want to bring yourself up to standing. Coming to stand in the middle of the space that you have, with your hands relaxing by your side. Let me lift that up a little. And when you're ready, just close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, become aware of the soles of your feet against either maybe your yoga mat or the floor. Really being aware of how that feels, the texture of the mat, the softness of the mat, the temperature against the soles of your feet. Keeping your eyes closed, then just become aware of your posture as you stand here, just quite naturally wherever you came to standing. And then keep your eyes closed as you lift your shoulders up and just take them back a little, tilting the center of your chest up towards the ceiling, pressing the spot right in the middle of your shoulder blades, just pressing that forward and taking your ears back a millimetre or two to the wall behind you. So feeling that active posture, and then opening your eyes and starting to rotate your arms around. So starting just relaxed, then bringing your hands together to travel down the front, and starting to take your arms back a little more so that your shoulders come back as your arms travel up the back, and reaching up towards the ceiling as they come up towards the top. So you're now drawing the biggest circle possible with your hands, and then taking that in the other direction. Now still making that the biggest circle that you can. So you're making the most of the ball and socket joint of your shoulders. Taking one more trip around, and then bringing your hands to rest by your side. Hands coming onto your hips, ensuring your feet are still hip distance, and then drawing a circle with your hips. So start with a small circle, gradually enlarging that circle so you spiral outwards. Once that circle becomes quite big, you can be aware that you've got a circle at your hips, and you've also got a circle of your head and shoulders rotating around as well. So feeling free to make that other circle nice and big as well. That other circle's kind of, it depends on your perspective, it's either a little bit behind the circle at your hips or a little bit ahead of it. Then starting to take that in the other direction. Now making the hip circle of your hips as big as you can. Probably reveal to you any tightness that you've got around your hips. Then starting to make that circle gradually smaller so your hips spiral back into the center until they get to the point where there's no movement at all and you come to a halt. Releasing your hands and coming to the front of your mat, ready for sun salutations. So again, once you've come to the front of your mat and placed your feet together, so you're feeling the insides of your feet touching, hands relaxing, and then coming back to that active posture. So taking the shoulders up and back, tilting the center of your chest to the ceiling. These are small movements, and pressing the point right between your shoulder blades, just easing that forward. We'll begin with 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, palms come together at the center of your chest. Press them closed, lifting your elbows, drawing them back. reaching your hands up. Stretch up tall first, look between your hands, and then take your arms and armpits back, lifting your chest up towards the ceiling as you do that, so that your abdomen and lower back are easing forward as your chest lifts up towards the ceiling. From your hips, starting to stretch forward with your arms, reach forward with your arms as you come down, and then when you can reach forward no more, let your arms relax down, let your head relax down. Bend your knees as much as you need so that your fingertips are touching the ground, but only just as much as you need. Taking your right foot all the way back, lowering your knee, lifting your gaze. With your gaze lifted, you can relax your hips, and as you press your right ankle and foot into the ground, you'll find you can ease your hips forward just a touch more. Tucking your right toes under, then sending your left foot back to come to a plank. Pressing the ground away from you, pushing your heels to the wall behind, lifting your navel gently towards your spine, lifting your knees. Lower your knees, then bring your chest to the mat. Make touch with your chin, or if you can reach your forehead. Pressing forward, lift your face and lift your chest. Shoulders up to the ceiling and then down towards your feet. Elbows in close, chest easing forward. Tucking your toes under, lift your hips. Maybe taking them back a little to your heels first so you come to down face dog. Hips lift high to the ceiling. Hands push down into the ground, heels push down into the ground. Then push your hands away from you against the mat. They won't move against the mat, allowing you to take your chest towards your knees, your armpits towards the ground. Looking between your hands, bring your right foot through, take your left knee down. Find to bring both knees down first. Let your gaze lift, ease your hips forward and down, pressing into your left foot and ankle. Left foot comes through, returning you to a forward fold. Upper body relaxing down over your legs. Then reaching up with your arms. Now bring your body up, looking between your hands, tilting your top of your rib chest up towards the ceiling, and hands come down. Inhale. Exhale, bringing your palms firmly together, lifting your elbows. Reaching and stretching up, and then back. From your hips, reaching and stretching forward, and then down. Fingertips in line with your toes on the mat. Neck muscles relaxed, so you're looking towards your knees. Left foot all the way back, lowering your knee and lifting your gaze. Left toes tuck under, send your right foot back, coming into a plank, perfect line from the back of your neck all the way down to your heels. Pressing the ground away from you. But as you do that, you'll kind of find you can lift your arms, your shoulders lift out of the top of your arms. So maybe just allowing the top of your arms just to engage more firmly into your shoulder socket, by almost just keeping your arms straight, but allowing your upper body to rest more heavily onto your arms. From here, if you're feeling strong, you could come down by taking your elbows towards the back of the room. Otherwise, knees then chest, or a combination of both. Lift your face and lift your chest, taking your shoulder blades back, elbows in close, then toes tuck, and hips lift. Hands pressing forward and down, heels pressing down, hips lifting, tilting your tailbone up to the ceiling, taking your chest to your knees, your armpits towards the mat. Looking between your hands, bringing your left foot through, right knee comes down, letting your gaze lift. Right foot comes through next, relaxing into your forward fold. Then a big sweeping movement as your arms lift you up towards the ceiling, looking between them, tilting your rib cage, and hands come down. Inhale. Exhale. We'll take 2 more rounds. For the second round, I'll make my instructions very minimal so you can focus on the way you want to adapt and work the postures. Really focusing on the flow from one posture to the next. Hands relaxing, crown of your head lifting. Rest breath to begin. Inhale. Exhale, palms pressing together, shoulder blades relaxing. Inhale, reach and stretch up, looking between your hands. Exhale, forward and down. Neck muscles relaxed, looking towards your knees. Inhale, right leg back, knee down, let your gaze lift. Hold your breath, left foot back, finding your plank, shoulder blades easing down your back. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts, elbows in close, chest presses forward. Exhale, toes tuck, hips lift on high, hands push forward against the mat. Inhale, right foot through, left knee down, hips relax. Exhale, left foot through, forward fold. Everything in the upper body hangs to the ground. Inhaling, reaching and stretching up and back. Exhale, hands down. Inhale. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, reaching up and then back. Exhale, forward and then down. Inhale, left leg back, knee down, lift your gaze. Hold your breath, right foot back, coming into your plank, pushing the ground away. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts. Exhale, toes tuck, hips lift, heels press firmly down. Inhale, left foot through, right knee down. Exhale, right foot through, forward fold, relaxing for that moment. Inhaling, reaching and stretching up. Exhale, hands down. Final round, inhale. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale, right leg back. Hold your breath, left foot back to plank. Exhale to lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts to cobra. Exhale, hips lift on high. Inhale, right foot through. Exhale, left foot through, forward fold. Inhale, reaching and stretching up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward and down. Inhale, left leg back. Hold your breath, right foot back. Exhale to lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts. Exhale, toes tuck, hips lift. Down face dog. Inhale, left foot through. Exhale, right foot through. Inhaling, a big reach and stretch up, looking between your hands. Exhale, hands down. Wonderful. Turning your palms to face forward, taking your feet apart for 2 cooling breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Coming to lie down on your mat. Our first Shavasana of the night. Stretching your legs out, maybe taking your feet out to the corners of the mat, hands away from your body and your palms turned up. Letting everything go. Maybe keeping some awareness and attention on your breath. Keeping your mind on the here and now. I should have said, making sure your belt is to hand. Hopefully your belt won't be too far away, so reach and grab your belt, then back back to lying down. Thank you, Martin. Bending your knees, bringing your feet in towards you, feet hip distance apart. Pick up your right foot and loop the centre of the belt around the ball of your right foot, stretching your right leg out so that your heel touches the ground, and you end up holding a belt loop in each hand with your arms straight. So you're holding as close towards your foot as you can reach. Drawing your toes towards you and pressing your knee down, so making that right leg strong and straight. Keep it straight as you next inhale and lift that leg up towards the ceiling. So don't rush to take it as far back as you can, just taking it to a first stretch. Reach your hands up so your arms are straight, you're holding as close to your ankle as you can reach. And with that grip, you can relax your shoulders and you'll just feel your foot draw in a little. From there, ease your leg back to its biting point where you've got that sense of stretch, a feeling of discomfort, but it's not pain, it's not tight pulling, it's not stress in any way. It's just a good strength and stretch down the back of your leg. Using your next few breaths to find more biting points. So as you inhale, ease your leg back 1 millimetre or 2. As you exhale, relax your upper body. Keeping that going, breath by breath. Remembering on the exhale, relaxing the shoulders. As you relax the shoulders, you just feel that gentle pull of the belt on your foot. One more breath here, a final biting point. Passing both belts then to your right hand, holding as close to your foot as you can reach. Extending your left arm out along the ground. Yes, maybe just shuffling if you need to, because your right leg's going to go out to the right in just one moment. Before you take it out though, I want you to make sure that your left side of your body is pressing down into the ground. If you want to, you could stretch your left leg out here. That intensifies the stretch, but makes you a little less stable. So your choice, whether you extend your left leg out along the ground. When you next exhale, then take your right leg out to the right, allowing the belt to slip through your fingers, bending your right elbow to land your elbow onto the ground. As it comes down, keep it from going any closer to the bottom of your mat. So you'll probably find you're hovering somewhere off the ground, holding it with your hand. Now really making sure that the left side of your body is firmly pressing down to the ground. So your leg, your buttock, your upper back, your left arm. Then taking a couple of breaths where you're just allowing the right leg to relax as you exhale. So giving a stronger stretch on the inside of that leg. And when you next inhale, bring the leg back to the center. Reach up to take a belt loop in each hand and ease your leg back to its biting point. Keep that leg straight if you can. If that's uncomfortable in your knee though, do put a small bend in the knee. Pass both belt loops to your left hand and extend your right arm out along the ground. Firmly pressing your right shoulder blade down. When you next exhale, slowly take your right leg over to the left, allowing yourself to roll up onto the outer edge of your left leg. So your hips will stack, your right hip will stack on top of the left. Let the belt slip through your fingers, holding onto the belt. And once you come over, only come as far as your right shoulder blade allows. If your right shoulder blade's lifted off, then just lift your leg a little bit more to the ceiling so your right shoulder blade presses down. Then using your left hand, start to guide your toes up towards the wall that's above your head, allowing your foot to come as close to the ground as your right shoulder blade allows. If your foot is on the ground, then you could take your hand underneath your leg and take a hold of the leg rather than use the belt. From here, for the next 2 or 3 breaths, as you inhale, press your right shoulder blade down. As you exhale, see if you can persuade your foot a little closer towards the wall that's above your head.
Take one more breath there, final ease up of the leg. When you next inhale, bring everything back to the center. Reaching up, taking a belt loop in each hand, guiding that leg towards the wall above your head. And then bend your knee, release the belt, stretch your right leg out. Let both legs relax apart for a moment. Being aware of how the right leg feels, especially compared to the left, which is still to have it stretching. So bending your knees once more, picking up your left foot, looping the belt around the left foot. Keep your right knee bent whilst we take the initial stretch. Stretch your left leg out along the ground so your heel makes contact. Flexing your toes so your toes come up towards your knee, pressing your knee down. So you're wanting as much contact as you can with the left leg and the ground. When you next inhale, lift the leg up towards the ceiling, keeping it straight unless that's uncomfortable. Reaching your hands up to take a belt loop in each hand, relaxing your shoulders and using your breath to find each biting point. So as you inhale, take it to the biting point, feeling the stretch. As you exhale, relax the upper body. Keep that going with every breath. Take one more breath, find a final biting point for the moment. Pass both belt loops to the left hand, hold up close by the foot, extend your right arm out along the ground. If you want to, you can stretch out your right leg. So now you're wanting as much contact with the right side of the body and the ground as you can. As you next exhale, take the leg out to the left. Avoid it going any closer to the bottom of the mat. Let the belt slip through your fingers. Bend your left elbow to land your left elbow onto the ground. So the weight of the leg gives you the stretch. Make sure your right hip is still in contact with the ground. If that's lifted off, you might just need to ease your leg back up a little. Next 2 breaths. Let the exhale relax your left leg, and that you might find it lowers a little closer to the ground. When you next inhale, bring the leg back up to the center. Reach up, take a belt loop in each hand, guide your leg back to its biting point. Really allowing the weight of the leg to rest down into the hip joint as you ease the foot back. Passing both belt loops to your right hand, extending your left arm out along the ground. When you next exhale, slowly take your left leg over to the right, rolling onto the outer edge of your right leg. Left hip stacks on top of the left. Bringing your foot as close to the ground as your shoulder blade will allow, or as close as the furniture will allow. And using your right hand, then start guiding your foot to the wall above your head. If your foot's on the ground and you can easily reach, you could take a hold of your leg from underneath. That'll just help you get a little bit more leverage. Using your breath so that as you inhale, you repress your left shoulder blade and arm into the ground. And as you exhale, see if you can guide your leg towards the wall above your head. One more breath, final lift. And when you next inhale, bring your leg back up to the center. Reach up, take a belt loop in each hand, holding close to your foot. Ease your leg back to its final biting point, letting your leg rest down into its socket. Then release. Bend your knee, release the belt. Taking your belt out to the side, stretching your left leg out, maybe having a shake there, palms turned up for a moment, allowing yourself a couple of breaths rest, feeling any sensations in the legs and in the hips after those good stretches. Bringing your feet together, taking your arms up overhead. Interlace your hands if that's comfortable for your shoulders. And stretch your arms back as you press your toes forward. So stretching long, feeling the stretch from your hands down your arms, armpits, chest, abdomen, legs, all the way down to your ankles and toes. And then as you next exhale, release the stretch, bring your hands over by your side, coming up to sitting. And from sitting, coming to hands and knees. So for our core today, we're going to take a hands and knees posture. Make sure your wrists are under your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. And then just let your body relax. So let your abdomen relax down towards the ground, allowing that dip to come into your back. If you are sideways on, you could look into your camera and you might just see your back dipping down towards the ground. Then strengthen the back. So draw your navel in towards your spine, and that dip will then come out of the back as your back lifts up to the lower back lifts up towards the ceiling as you bring on your core. So navel towards your spine. And if you were to place a tray of champagne flutes on your back, they would be quite firmly held on the straight level back. You want to keep your back level as you take your weight a little into your left hand and lift your right arm and stretch it forward. Keep your navel drawing towards your spine, then taking your weight a little onto your right knee as you lift your left leg and stretch your left leg back, pressing your heel to the wall behind. So you want to be level, so your arm is level with your leg, is level with your body, stretching your fingertips forward, stretching your heel backwards. So you'll feel the stretch cross over at your abdomen. Then, as you next exhale, slowly bend your elbow, bringing your elbow underneath you, bending your knee, bringing your knee underneath you, to connect knee and elbow if you can underneath you. Tucking your head under and tucking your tailbone under as you do so. Then when you inhale, stretch your leg out behind you, stretching your hand forward. Keep your navel drawing in, that's what gives the control. Then keep that going with your breath. As you exhale, bring it in underneath you. And as you inhale, stretch it out away from you. When you stretch out, really stretch forward and back with hand and heel. When you're out touching elbow and knee, tuck your head under, tuck your tailbone under. Keep your core strong. So taking two more of those, up to two more of those with your own breath. And then when you've done the final one, lower your hand, lower your left knee, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and just let your abdomen relax. Taking a couple of good breaths there before we do the other side. So drawing your navel back towards your spine, feeling your lower back arch up towards the ceiling, but not arch up, just level up towards the ceiling. When you're ready, lifting your left arm, stretching your left fingertips forward, lifting your right knee, stretching your right heel back. So your navel's drawing to your spine, so you're feeling that stretch across your abdomen. When you next exhale, bring elbow and knee together underneath you, slowly with control as you inhale, stretching that out long. And then keeping that going with your own breath. Remembering when you're stretching long, stretch long. And when you're touching underneath, really tuck your head under to tuck your tailbone under. So taking up to two more with your own breath. And And then when you're done, lower your hand, lower your knee. Take your knees nice and wide towards the edges of the mat, sitting back towards your heels and stretching your arms out as you lower your head down towards the ground. Maybe placing a block or a fist underneath your forehead. And then take some good deep breaths down into your abdomen. So you'll feel your abdomen between your knees. Relaxing down with each out breath. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and press into your hands to lift up. Come to lying on your back. Once you're lying on your back, just bring your knees in and lift your head up towards your knees. So stretching out your back before we take our shoulder stand. Releasing your legs, stretching your legs out, preparing yourself for shoulder stand, hands by your side, palms turned down. If you have high blood pressure or shoulder stand isn't for you today, then you could come to legs in the air, maybe taking a belt around to hold them there, maybe taking a block or cushion underneath your lower back. If you're taking shoulder stand, make sure your elbows are in nice and close, shoulders relaxing down. When you're ready, lifting your legs, and once your legs are lifting your hips. You might find you want to do that with bent knees, giving you some momentum. Once you're lifted, keep looking directly upwards towards your knees. Take a moment to let your posture settle. And then there are two things we really want to do in a shoulder stand. One is we want to find the strength in the shoulder stand. And that comes from pressing the upper arms down in towards the ground. So we've got an active base to our shoulder stand. Shoulders and upper arms pressing down. The next is to find the balance and the comfort. And that's about adjusting the height of your legs, so how close your knees are to your face or how far away. It's also about getting the right grip of your hands on your hips. So are you going to have more your top of your buttocks into your hands or more your lower back into your hands? Choosing how much weight to send down your hands to your elbows. So you're aiming to get a posture that is balanced and effortless, but keeping that active pressure downwards in your shoulders and upper arms. So knowing that you can hold here, or if you chose, you could come down by taking your arms down and lowering out of your shoulder stand. Or if you want, you could take the pose of tranquility by taking your hips back a little bit towards the wall that's above your head, taking both hands down onto the ground. If you've got a lot of stability there and it can control where your hips are in space, you could then bring one hand around and place it onto a shin. If that feels stable, bring the other hand around so that you end up with both your shins resting on straight arms, the weight of your legs just resting onto your arms. And again, just finding the balance there. You might need to make a little bit of an adjustment. Ideally, have as much of your upper back on the ground as you can. So making sure you're not allowing all the weight to come into your very upper back and neck. If you've got good hamstring flexibility, you might find you could take a hold of your toes. Wherever you are, whether you're in shoulder stand, or whether you are in pose of tranquility, or whether you are resting, just taking another couple of breaths right there, allowing the exhale to relax you. If you're in the pose of tranquility, bring your hands back one at a time onto your lower back, resetting your shoulder stand for a moment. Then bringing one hand followed by the other so your palms are flat on the mat behind you. There now your brakes as you slowly, slowly, slowly lower your back one vertebra at a time onto the ground. Once your hips have landed, then letting your legs stretch out down towards the ground. Beautiful. And then once your heels have landed, let your feet relax apart, turning your palms to face up, taking 2 or 3 moments of rest there. We'll counter pose today with some Setu Bandha, bridge pose. Bending your knees, bringing your feet in towards you, reaching down, seeing if you can just touch the middle of your heel with your middle finger. The reasoning for that is you want your shins to be almost vertical. And again, if you might be able to look into your camera, you certainly can't see it when you're lying down. You might be able to look at your camera and just see where your shins are. Feet are hip distance apart, drawing your toes very slightly towards each other. Then let's take this in 2 steps. Tilt your tailbone up towards the ceiling so you feel your lower back pressing firmly into the ground. Then a press into your feet as you lift just your lower back away from the ground so your upper back is still in contact. And then lifting your hips higher so your middle back peels away from the ground. Lifting your hips higher still so you'll feel your upper back starting to peel away from the ground. And you can peel more away by pressing your upper arms into the mats. As you do that, you'll be able to lift the center right between your shoulder blades away from the ground a little more. If it's okay for your shoulders, you could then interlace your hands underneath you, so your fingers interlace, pressing your hands down towards your feet. And then maybe just taking your weight, rocking a little bit over to the left so you can tuck your right shoulder underneath you, sort of rolling it outwards and down towards the ground, and then taking your weight a little over onto your right shoulder so you can roll out and under your left shoulder. Wherever your hands are, then starting to press into your feet and your upper arms, seeing if you can get more lift of your hips, more lift of your upper back. As you press your feet down into the ground, also press them forward, not moving against the mat, but just as they press forward, you might find the pointy bits at the front of your hips can head up to the corner of the wall and ceiling behind you, lifting you up a little higher still. Take one more breath there. Have a lift if you can. Then if your hands are uninterlaced, then move them out to the side and slow as you like, drape your spine back down towards the ground, sending your hips towards your heels. When your hips have touched down, bring your knees onto your chest. Take your arms around the back of your thighs or your knees and have a rock side to side. Bring that rocking to a halt and ease the knees to the chest, head to the knees. Release, land your feet down, land your head down, and come up to sitting. So just sitting comfortably, you don't have to be cross-legged, you could have your legs straight, whatever's comfortable, and we'll release the neck. Turning your head all the way to the right, keeping your chin level, back to the center, over to the left. Back to the center, and right, center, and left. And back to the center. So we're going to take a rock the baby, which is a great posture for opening the hips. So you might want to sit on a block, that's certainly, or a cushion, something just to lift your hips. That will certainly make it easier to sit upright. Once you're sitting upright with your legs loosely crossed in front of you, have a look down and locate your left foot and take a hold of it and pick it up. Now this is one of those postures that shows the different physicality that we all have. We'll all be in a different place on this.
with the hold of your foot, just bring it up, so you're bringing it up towards chest height. Then take a hold of the foot with the left hand and bring the knee into the crook of the left elbow. So this is a fine place to be. If you've got flexibility in your hips, you might find you could take the foot into the right elbow and then the knee into the crook of the hand and bring your hands together there. You might find that, but you equally may well not find that either. Is that a bit of cramp there, Martin? Okay, we'll leave you to work that out. Then once you're here, just see if you can lift your foot a little more so that you're bringing your shin horizontal. Also take a flex of your left foot. So flexing your foot up towards your knee, but in particular drawing the little toe side up towards the knee. That might mean you press the big toe side away from you. And this is actually a very similar movement to the one that we do in pigeon, the one that I find so hard to describe. Then take your weight over a little bit onto your right buttock and walk your left buttock, take your left buttock back just a touch. And then after all those instructions, you can start to rock the baby. So you're just taking a sideways movement of the hip. So starting steadily, but as your hip warms up, you might find you can take the knee a little more out to the left and bring your foot a little more over to the right when you're coming that way. So a nice simple hip opener. You could do it while you were watching telly. It's taking one more rock to each side and then stopping. Taking a hold of the foot and then placing it back down. So have a shuffle and an adjust and sit yourself up straight. Then finding and picking up your right foot. Just take a hold first and bring it up in front of you. Then take whatever posture is right for you. So that might be right knee into your right elbow, taking a hold with your left hand. You might find you can bring the foot into the crook of your elbow. Wherever you come to, just see if you can lift your foot so you're bringing your shin as near to vertical as you can. Flexing your right foot so the toes are coming up towards the knee, particularly the little toe side. Taking your weight over onto the left and taking your right buttock back just a touch. And then starting to rock. So steady at first. And as you warm up, starting to see if you can take that a little bit further each way. Taking one more to each side and then bringing that to a halt, taking hold of the foot, placing it back down and stretching your legs out. Taking a shake. Then, so from there we're going to come onto our fronts and take a back bend. So come to lying on your front with your hands one on top of the other underneath your forehead. Just having a rock side to side with your hips. That will just ease them out a little after taking Rock the Baby. And then we're going to take 3 cobras to stretch the back and strengthen the back. So bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, fingertips in line with the top of your shoulders, then forehead on the mat, elbows are in close. With your forehead resting on the ground, just lift your shoulders up to the ceiling and then down towards your feet. So that up and back motion. Then when you next inhale, just lift your gaze so you're looking directly forward.
As you do that, you'll feel your palms resting on the ground. There should be a lightness there. There's no pressure, and you want to keep that lightness as you next inhale and lift your chest away from the ground. Taking your elbows back, pressing your chest forward, keeping your breath steady. Take one more breath. See if you can lift a little higher as you take it without pressing your hands into the ground. And as you exhale, lower your forehead back down. Taking a breath with your forehead on the mat. Then lifting your shoulders up to the ceiling and down to your feet. When you next inhale, lift your face, look forward. And when you next inhale, peeling your chest away from the ground. Elbows are in close. Your hands are drawing back but not moving against the mat. The centre of your chest easing forward. Take one more breath, lifting as you take it. Exhale to lower. Hands underneath your forehead. Take a breath. So we're going to take one more cobra. As an option with this, for this final one, you could bring your hands down behind you and either rest them by your side, palms turned up, or you could interlace your hands and rest your hands on your lower back. Tune into your lower back. You could rest this one out. You could take cobra with your hands underneath your shoulders or have your hands back. So forehead's resting on the ground. As you next inhale, lifting your face and looking forward. As you next inhale, lifting your chest away from the mat. Then if your hands are behind you, as you next inhale, lifting your hands up towards the ceiling. Stretching your hands towards the wall behind to help you to lift higher. Keeping your breath steady. Seeing if your arms can lift higher, see if your shoulders can lift higher. Taking one more good breath, lifting as you take it. As you exhale, slowly lowering down, bringing your hands underneath your forehead, resting your forehead onto your hands. And bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, pressing into your hands, coming to hands and knees, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and then taking a few rounds of cat-cow. So as you inhale, tilt your tailbone to the ceiling, lift your face to look up, let your back of your waist relax down. As you exhale, tailbone tucks under, head tucks under, your back arches up towards the ceiling. And then keep that going with your own breath, just rippling and rolling from one to the other with each breath. When you're next in cat, hold there, head tucked under, tailbone tucked under, hands pressing firmly down, knees pressing down, feet pressing down, and then release. Sit your heels back to your hips, your hips back to your heels. Let your hands stretch in front of you, maybe taking a block or a fist underneath your forehead if that allows you to relax your head towards the ground at the same time as keeping your hips close to your heels. And then just relax and rest on each exhale. Feeling your armpits lower to the ground, feeling your chest more firmly engaged with your legs with each breath out. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press into your hands to come up, and bring yourself to standing. So for our standing posture, if you are facing your camera right now, then come sideways on. And if you face that way, so Martin, if you maybe face this way, and then because your mat's that way, isn't it? Yeah, so yeah, if you face this way, and then taking your feet out, hands on hips, take your feet not too wide, don't take it to your absolute maximum,
Then turn your right foot in and your left foot out. So that should leave those with the mat that way, pointing this way. Use your hands on your hips to guide them round to the short edge of the mat. Then press both your feet firmly into the ground. So you're feeling the whole sole of each foot firmly pressing down. Seeing if you can bring your right hip forward a little, take your left hip back a little. Taking your hands then and interlacing them behind you. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your hands interlaced for your shoulders, have your hands separate out to the side, like wings. Then press your hands down to the ground so that your chest lifts. When you next exhale, start to hinge forward from your hips. So you're sending your chest forward and then down over the front leg. Once you've come as far as you can, then you could let your neck muscles relax, let your chest relax, and lift your arms up towards the ceiling. With your neck muscles relaxed, your head will hang down towards the ground. If that's not comfortable, then keep a little lift in your neck, using your next 2 or 3 breaths, so that as you inhale, you lift your arms up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, you relax your upper body more towards the ground. Any discomfort in your left knee or in your lower back, then take a bit of a bend in that knee. One more breath here. Inhaling, lifting your arms, exhaling, relaxing down. Then on your next breath, make it a big inhale as you lift your head and lower your hands. Turning to the side and placing your hands on your hips. Heel toe your feet back together. And then those of you who are facing that way, come to face this way. Martin, if you stay there and take it the other side. Take your feet good. No, I was going to say good and wide. Don't take them good and wide. Just take them to a good distance, not your maximum. Turning your left foot in and your right foot out. So your right foot pointing to the short edge of the mat. Bringing your hips around to face the front edge. Keeping both feet pressing down, feeling the soles of the feet. So if you lifted your foot, you'd have a footprint shape in your mat. Taking your hands behind you, interlacing your fingers if that's comfortable. Taking your shoulders back, pressing your hands down towards the ground. So that starts to lift your chest. When you next exhale, starting to send your chest forward and then down. Coming down over that leg. When you've come as far as you can, keeping your right hip easing back, keeping your left hip easing forward, start to lift your hands up towards the ceiling, letting your neck muscles relax, letting your chest relax. So your whole upper body is relaxing down over that front leg. Using your next few breaths. So as you inhale, lifting your hands to the ceiling, and as you exhale, relaxing your upper body down towards the ground. Slight bend in that front knee if you need it. So don't put up with any discomfort in that knee. One final breath here. Inhaling, lifting arms, exhaling, releasing down to the ground. And when you next inhale, make it a big one, lifting yourself back up as you lower your hands. Turning your feet to the side, hands on hips, and heel toeing your feet back together. Wonderful. Those looked very strong. And it's a really strong hamstring stretch. So the work we did earlier with the belts is great preparation for what we just did. There. And that looks like a good idea, Martin. So let's just take a rotate of our hips just to help us to release out after that. Taking that in the other direction as well. Then bringing that to a halt and preparing yourself for our balance. So for our balance, we're going to be taking the balance sequence. At a point in the balance sequence, we will be going like that, taking the leg back. So you might just want to make sure you've got a leg length behind you to allow you to do that. So hands relaxing. Feet hip distance apart, shoulders relaxing. When you're ready, pick up your right foot, bringing your knee in towards your chest and taking your hands around your knee, drawing your knee into your chest. So make these moves really slow. Give your body time to adjust. Taking your left hand out to the side, stretching your hand to the left. Slowly then, taking your right knee out to the right, using the right hand to help it. When it's gone as far as you can, stretch your left hand leftwards, stretch your right knee rightwards. It's like you're opening a book. And slowly bring your knee back. When it's safely delivered, your right hand can stretch out to the right. Stretch your hands apart so you're getting the maximum distance from one set of fingertips to the other. Starting then to hinge forward. As you hinge forward, let your knee come underneath you. And once it's gone underneath, you could straighten it out behind you, lifting it as high as your balance allows. Stretching your hands out to the side, stretching your heel back. Maybe a little bit of core here just to help give you the stability and the strength. Then slowly starting to come back up. Bend your knee as you come back up so it can come back underneath you. Then lift your knee up towards your chest if you've got it. And then exhale. Everything lowers down. Wonderful. Taking a shake of your left leg. So you know exactly what we're going to be doing this time. Hands relaxing, feet relaxing against the ground, shoulders relax as well. When you're ready, you can start to pick up your left foot, bringing your knees slowly in. It's important to take this slowly so your body has a chance to adjust to the redistribution of weight, bringing your hands in around your knee, drawing it in, or you could take them underneath your thigh. Right hand stretches out to the right. Slowly starting to take your left knee to the left. When it's gone as far as it can, re-stretch your right hand to the right, pressing your left knee to the left. And slowly bring the knee back. When it's delivered, left hand heads left, stretching your hands wide. Slowly hinging forward, knee comes underneath you. When it's gone underneath, start to straighten it out behind you, pressing your heel away. Just come as high as your balance allows today. Hands stretch wide, heel stretches back. Slowly starting to come back up, bending the knee. When the knee comes in, lifting it back up, hands lifting again, and as you next exhale, everything lowers back down. Taking a shake of your right leg. Remembering balance does vary from one side to the other and from one day to the other. There's good balance days and less good balance days. It was looking like a pretty good balance day from what I could see. That's it, we are done except for some final relaxation. So bring yourself to a final corpse pose, a final Shavasana. Stretching out on your mat, taking a cushion or a block if you want to have something behind your head. Do keep your knees bent if that's more comfortable or if you've got any discomfort in your lower back. And once you've got that contact with the ground, just allow your attention to go from head all the way down to your heels. Checking in with the contact that you've got, making any adjustments so that the contact you have is the contact that's going to allow you to rest completely. So making sure there's no spots of tension,
no part of the body against the ground that would just benefit from moving a millimetre or two. Then use your next 3 breaths. Take a good in-breath and a good out-breath, letting the out-breath relax the body towards the ground. And then know that I'll be keeping an eye on the clock. You just have to rest and relax, letting go completely. Keeping your body still, bring your awareness gently back. Taking a wriggle of your fingers and toes when you're ready. So it's that reconnection with the body. Bring your legs together, take your arms overhead. Have a very gentle stretch out. Press your toes forward as you press your hands back. Then release, bending your knees, bringing one knee then the other onto your chest, taking your arms around your knees, all the back of your thighs, having a rock side to side. Bringing that to a hold, lifting your head to your knees, squeezing your knees down to your chest. And release, land your feet down, land your head down. From there, maybe coming to the right hand side for a breath or two and slowly bringing yourself up to sitting. Wonderful. I can't tell you how good it is to see you all, and also to know that people will be watching this a little bit later as well. Thank you everyone. Namaste.